your table of powers, right? So these should be like mental math. 2 to what power would give me 8? Someone say it. X would have to be 3 to make this equation true. So these are table of powers facts. 3 to what power gives me 9? So X equals 2. What about 5 to what power gives me 125? So T has to be 3. So this is like a mental math workout. What about number 4? 6 to what power gives me 1? Because anything to the 0 power is 1. Number 5, y would have to be 1 to make that true, right? 10 to the first is 10. And then number 6, t just has to be 6. So this is called the 1-to-1 property. If the base is the same on both sides, then they have to have the same exponent. It's called the 1-to-1 property. We're going to see it again in logs. When the logs are the same on both sides, they have to be the same number inside the log. So these are considered a little bit harder because you might not know these powers in your head, or you might have to solve for a variable in a little bit more challenging way. I think number 7 you should be able to do in your head. X would have to be what power? -2. So you're taking the reciprocal and you have to get to 9. So -2, right, flips it over and squares it. So X would have to be -2. Number 8, you might not know unless you use your table of powers, but it's 4 to what power is 256? 4, so I need it to be -4 so that it's the reciprocal of the value. Yep. All right, what about number 9? I'm starting with the number 1/4, which this parenthesis should be around the 1/4, and then I'm raising it to the t power, and then I get 16. So I have to flip it back over and then go from 4 to 16. So how do I do that? Yep. 4 squared is 16, and I have to flip it over. So t would have to be -2. All right, what about number 10? 7 raised to the 2x power is 49. Well, 49 is 7 squared, right? So what does x have to be? X would have to be 1 to make it a true statement. So there's not much algebra. It's kind of knowing those powers and then solving like what the exponent would have to be. 3 to what power is 81? 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. So it must be 3 to the 4th. If I need 2x to equal 4, x would have to just be 2. Yep, so these are all power families. Those are the ones that you can solve right now without any extra kind of skill. All right, so number 12 is a little bit harder. What I would do on number 12 is I would make them both into a base of 5. So 25 is 5 squared, and that is being raised to the x power, right? I haven't changed the value. 25 is 5 squared, and I'm raising it to the x power. What's the rule when you are dealing with powers that you're distributing? You multiply them, right? So 2 times x is 2x. So I can rewrite this problem that 5 to the -1st power equals 5 to the 2x power, and this is the 1-to-1 property I was talking about. -1 has to be equal to 2x. So this one, if you want to write out the algebra, now you would actually set the two exponents equal to each other and solve for x. So to me, this one was a hard one to do in my head, but now I can see I divide by 2 on both sides, and the answer is -1/2. I couldn't do that one mental math. Maybe you could. But now if I think about it, to go from 25 down to 5, I'm taking the square root of 25, right? That's where that 1/2 power comes in. And then the negative is going to give me that -1 that 5 currently has as its exponent. All right, so I'd like you to try the ones on the back page. Some of them are just evaluating like we did yesterday. And then there's some on the bottom that you might have to change base and use the 1-to-1 property if you can't just do them in your head. Like 2a, you could just do that in your head. I don't know about 2d or f. So if you need to change base, change base. I want to point out that on letter 1b, that negative is not in a parentheses. So you're going to do the negative, and then you're going to do the 25 to the 1/2 first, and then just make the answer negative. The one that we looked at yesterday had negative 25 under the radical, and you couldn't do it because it was in parentheses. This negative sign is out in front of the problem, so you're going to take the square root of 25, then make the answer negative at the end. So take a couple minutes and try those, and we'll put up our answer. So here are the answers to the guided practice. And I'll put up number 2 in a minute, so you should pause it and try number 2. On that page, all right.